Hello soul friends, this is Miriam and welcome back to my channel. Today's pick a card reading is going to be messages from your animal spirit guides. Messages from your animal spirit guides. So remember, no matter your individual beliefs, tarot or oracle reading is your, what are they called? Spirit guides coming forward to give you advice, or is simply your subconscious mind helping you answer life's ponders. No matter how you look at that, it is healthy. And you are in the right place, you guys. Okay, so we have our animal cards here. We're just going to shuffle and give one for each of you. Here's group 1, group 2, group 3, and group 4. Group 4, you got 2 aminos. Yes, I say aminos. It's a thing I did since I was a baby. Yes, I spoke when I was a baby. Okay. Didn't know that about me, did you? Yep, I just came out talking like this. Like the first thing I did was come out and like just cackle really loud. Like, yeah, that's what happened. All right, let's get you some pretty little crystals. Let's put this one on group 1. We'll put this little mustard heart on group 2. Man, that like matches the cards perfectly, which I love. Yellow rock. Group 3. Oh, let's see. What else? Let's go with peachy rock for group 4. What are they, Miriam? I don't know. I know that's citrine, but other than that, woo, I have no idea. All right, pause the video if you actually need. Oh, wait, hang on, don't go. Let's show you your cards. Or skip this part if you don't care about me showing you which cards we're using today. I gotta dig around. Dig, dig, dig. Okay. We're gonna use Crow Tarot for your individual readings, and then this is the deck that we are using for your overall animal energy. All right, my wonderful friends, now we will see you in your individual readings. Bye. Hello group 1. So if you pick the sparkly citrine, you guys getting sick of this rock yet? Because I'm not. I like it. Let's go ahead and look at what animal is your guide today. Remember, this doesn't have to be just your spirit animal forever. It's just the messages that are coming in from your animal spirit today. So this could just be like a one-time deal, or it could be your, one of your actual totems. Okay. All right. What's the difference? I don't know. Okay. So you got the chameleon. It says, stay in the background and adapt to the situation rather than being conspicuous and attempting to direct the course of events. Ooh. I don't know about you, but I always love when I hear like I don't have to do anything. Like, I don't want to do anything, especially when it comes to like people stuff. So let's go ahead and get the book out, and I'm going to read it to you. And then I think what I'm going to do this time is after I read it, I will let you see, and then you can skip or actually get to see it, right? Okay. Chameleon. Even if you believe that you have the right answer for the dilemma at hand or a better way to handle things at this time, it's best to surrender to the will of spirit and simply allow events to unfold without your direct intervention or guidance. Pay attention to what's happening, but become more of a witness, observer than an obvious participant. Simply by your presence, you're participating. However, there's no need to subtly or more blatantly push your agenda on those around you. Even when you're physically present, you can contract your energy field or aura to the point where others may not notice you, thus allowing you to be unobtrusive and more easily blend with your surroundings. With practice, you can get so good at this that you'll be nearly invisible to others. This isn't a call for you to be passive, but to wait and contain yourself until you know with certainty that it's time to step up and let your presence be known. When it's time to do so, move quickly with focus and certainty. But in the meantime, flow with the situation instead of trying to make something happen. Whatever needs to occur is already in motion anyway, so go with it. All right, so there's page 1. And I know that nobody can read this fast, but you can screenshot it if you like. Page 2, we're having a harder time. My pop socket's in the way of my phone. Yes, I don't use fancy schmancy cameras. I have no need of them. Actually, I wouldn't know how to use one if I had it, though. So that's something to be considered. All right. So one of the things that popped into my mind is an invisibility trick that I learned long ago. And it worked for me, right? And it was this idea of, like blending into my surroundings. I figured out how to do it when I was playing tag as a child. And man, you find enough 6 kids go trampling over you with their Nerf crossbows. Just kidding. We only had one Nerf crossbow in the neighborhood. So we had to get creative with how we played our games. We played Hunter, where just the one person with the crossbow whose turn it was just hunted the rest of us, and the last man who got shot was the one who got to have the crossbow next. We also played a game called, I think it was called like Groundhog. What are those little things called? And they pop up out of the ground. Groundhogs. We're doing animal readings and I know nothing about them. Are you excited? And that one was fun. You just there's this cool little rock wall around my little boyfriend's property. And he had the crossbow because his parents bought them cool things. And we would all duck behind the wall. And whoever had the crossbow, it was just kind of like playing a human whack-a-mole. You just aim, and whoever's head popped up, you had to try to shoot them before they popped back down again. And man, that thing hurt. I wouldn't recommend doing that, even though they were Nerf. I think we actually did bloody somebody's nose once. What's the point of that story? Don't play the groundhog game, I guess. If you see your kids playing something like that, unless the material is very, very soft, you could still put out an eye. You put your eye out, kid. All right, so anyway, I feel like a lot of followers I have must work in toxic work environments, because I like how your animal matches your stone, much like a chameleon would match any stone. But I feel like I'm seeing people in a staff meeting, and people are just oh, I hate staff meetings or work meetings, where everybody just can't agree, and everybody has their agenda, everybody has their personal feelings. And I feel like maybe lately when you've interjected or tried to put yourself out there, it might have made things kind of worse for you in some way. And again, they're not seen to be passive. If you see human rights violations or anything that goes against your moral high ground or whatever, speak up, obviously. But they're just showing that whatever is going on, never heard the, this is a different kind of animal, but the saying that's, sorry, I don't know if you could hear that because I have my earbuds in. I keep rubbing my, they're rubbing your what? I keep rubbing my boot against the leather on my couch, and it is making this horrible, horrible sound that sounds funny. If we were in a high school classroom, everybody would be laughing at me right now. Anyways, if you heard that, I apologize. But that old saying, not my circus, not my monkeys, right? It's just let them do what they're going to do. Generally, when this card comes up, it's not just, it's for your protection, but it's also to help you kind of relax. You don't have to figure this all out for them. Ooh, I just got kids. Somebody's worried about their kids. And I feel like they might be grown kids. And so your guides are saying, they're adults, let them go, let them do what they're going to do. You got to let them fall on their bicycle a few times before they get good at it, right? Yep. And what else? I also like my little cat ring here. Just caught my eye. Its little eyes were sparkling at me in the light. And so I also feel like you have a message from Cat. And Cat is also about being stealthy and knowing when to run away when things get, icky. So, or to remove themselves if things get icky. Like our cats don't run away from us generally, but if they don't like the shtick that's going on, like me doing a reading, they're like, F this, I'm mobile, and they just like run away, right? They're saying to be like that, to like blend in with the surroundings. I feel like this is like an immediate kind of feeling, like something to do with like this, week, or even like today or tomorrow, depending on when you're watching this. Especially for the toxic work, or at least toxic staff meetings, business meetings, sphere. Yeah. What else? There also might be an instance where some of you might run into somebody that you don't want to see, and you don't want them to see you. Pretend you're a chameleon when you see them coming. Pretend you're a chameleon and just blend in with the background, and chances are they won't see you. Okay. What else? I see him balancing on this little branch, like staying in balance. This is going to help you stay in balance. Interesting. What else? He's also up higher, so he has a higher perspective than some. That's also a message for you. For some, I think maybe you might be new at something. Maybe you're new at something and you want to assert yourself so that they all know that you're dedicated and that you do know some things, right? But they're actually saying that right now it'll reflect better on you to kind of just watch and wait and hone skills that way through observation. One of the things that new at something, here's an example. Like when I moved to a small town as an adult, and I still live in that town, I felt privileged for the fact that I had lived in small towns already as a kid and had already made all the small town mistakes that people can make. I still made mistakes, but the small town mistakes that I made before, like reading the room differently, making sure you know who is who and who's related to who, so you don't say something to the wrong person, and then it gets back to someone. All of those things, figuring out the town hierarchy, because it's different than just like what a normal hierarchy would look like. It's the same thing with neighborhoods where people just stay in the same little neighborhood, in like a bigger city. It's interesting how we kind of just form our own little small towns, no matter where we are. But like learning how to navigate through that, like figuring out what religions are, super important in that area, what, who gets favoritism in certain areas, who are considered the dregs of that society. And I'm not saying like, oh, do that so you can ostracize them all too. That's not something that I did. But it did help me navigate through so that I ended up in less awkward situations. Okay. It also helped the community gain trust for me of being like, okay, I don't know, I didn't just like hide in the background entirely. I like kept my private life as private as possible, but at the same time, there were many things that I just put out there out in the open, and that like kind of deflected from anything that I didn't want to tell people. Yeah. Another thing I would do is just tell them I don't want to talk about it. It's none of your business. And like for some reason in this town, unlike any other town I've lived in, I'm going to give my town props for this. They just, oh, okay. And they never ask you about it again. And they will go tell everyone else, oh, don't bring that up. They don't like it. It's awesome. So like they kind of look out for each other that way, which I like. And they actually respect the boundary, which I think is really, really cool. I mean, they might talk to each other about wondering what it is, but that's fine. What people think of us is none of our business. For some reason, that saying helps me more than saying, don't care what people think. Like, clearly I care, Carol, or I wouldn't feel so sick in my tummy right now. Like, I just was the last kid to get picked for dodgeball, and certainly the last kid to get picked for prom, right? All right. So blending into your backgrounds, getting a lay of the land, figuring out what to do, etc. and so forth. Let's get you some tarot. Temperance. Yep, it's all about balance, baby. It's all about the balance, baby. The Chariot. It will help bring you victory. It will help you pull things together. It also, oh, cute, will work as a bridge between the people who already know what they're doing and are really, really comfortable in their roles, and, you know, the dregs, or the people that don't fit in as well, the outcasts, that you could serve as a bridge for that, which is really beautiful. This one wants to come out. 3 of Wands. If you follow this plan, it will bring you a lot of success. I think if you put this into practice, you're going to feel a stress reduction. And this is in all the situations that we discussed in the beginning. I don't want to, this is general enough that I don't feel like I have to go into each individual one or give examples for each. Let me know if I messed that up in the comments, or if you're like, yes, if I hear more of your stupid childhood stories, I'm gonna puke. I don't know if I can stop doing that. I don't know. There's part of my thing. I feel like there's always messages in there for some reason. It's part of being an empath. When you're an empath, especially at the level that I am, which is a very, very ouchy level of empath abilities, a lot of times it's the empathy between the two that ends up bringing the message. So, you know, that, and I'm just horribly self-absorbed. You shall learn this of me if you have not already. That's my channel. I do what I want. Ew, I wanted 2 more, and look what we got. 2 more just for you. 6 of Wands, we were talking about being that bridge. You could end up just being very well admired because of your chameleon tactics. Now, notice how the book didn't say anything about blending in to the point where you're faking anything, okay? That you're changing, you know, trying to change from, like, a chameleon can change its color, but it can't change what it is, right? So I'm not saying like to try to become, you know, part of the pack in the sense of like, okay, I'm going to start dressing like them. I'm going to start trying to be just like the people who are well liked in this little society. And that's how I'm going to do it. No. Authenticity only, my friends. Change your color just a little to help blend into the background so that you don't call unnecessary attention to you. That's what the message of that is mainly. And then the Lovers. Seeing eye to eye with those around you, or with a special someone. Is there a romance message in here? Spirit, gross. Can we look into that real quick, though, in case? Yep. Gross. All right. So hopefully if you were here for romance, or if you just have romance going on in your life, super gross, but it does happen. Happens to the best of us, right? I being one of the guilty ones myself, even though I constantly talk about how gross this is for you too. It just popped up. How gross it is. But I feel like remember that message I was saying about like, don't change into them, just kind of blend into the background. I feel like maybe some of you might be on that, if you're in this for romance, that you might be leaning towards one of those ideas of like, okay, every time they say like, I like this music or I like that music, you know how it is when you're first dating someone and you don't want to scare them away by like being yourself. And so you water everything down, or you like, you know, they say, oh, I really like, you know, Breaking Benjamin. And you're like, man, I saw them live and they sucked. I don't know how to say that though. They seem to really be into them. You know, I'll just be like, yeah, they're cool. But then all they want to do is listen to Breaking Benjamin with you. And you're like, I don't like them anymore. They weren't good when I saw them live, right? So, you know, that kind of deal. They're saying not to totally change into that other person. If that other person was into that, they'd just be with themselves. They'd be auto-dating or whatever. That's not a term. But it's like you're just dating yourself. But that's not, I've never actually heard that being said about dating. Just about other things. And they didn't say auto-dating for that. So anyway, you picking up what I'm putting down? Good. But it seems like to have a meeting of minds and to be connected with this like special person. You don't have to completely adapt to what they are doing. The Lovers is also about balancing each other out, and so is Temperance, in a way that, you know, both of your differences are also honored, okay, or also special. So, you know, for example, my partner loves to work on cars. Okay. Now, it would have been a really cool girl thing of me to do, to be like, oh yeah, I love learning about cars. I'm going to sit next to you while you work on cars and trucks, and you can teach me everything you know. And then pretty soon I'll be like challenging you on your ideas, and we'll just like work on cars and trucks together. Well, I would rather die than do that, right? Just like he would rather die than, I don't know, do spirituality stuff and read cards and talk about our feelings all day long. Like, and so there's just certain things that we just don't pressure the other one to do because we know they're not into it, right? It doesn't mean that he doesn't like me as much now, right? And that's actually something that was healthy for us to do. And so that's a message for some of you that are into this for the romance. Okay, let's see what this other card says. Knight of Wands. Yeah, see, if you're worried about romance, you don't have to with the Knight of Wands. That shows somebody being super romantic-y with you, super in love with you, super stuff with you. Yes. For the rest of you, that message of striking when you know it's time. Okay, so I feel like sometimes you feel like you need to strike and you don't need to. And then you're like, oh, now I'm in hot water. Okay, I do that. The times I was supposed to speak up, I didn't. And the times that I shouldn't have spoke up was usually when I tried, right? Or the times when I should have expressed my anger, I held it in and then went off on the wrong person, you know? And so those are all important things to remember about yourself, and to ask your guides to help you figure out when you're supposed to get out there and when not to. I like this one. Yes. And if you follow this road, my friends, you will feel like the emperor, like a master of your own little world, feeling so good about yourself, being admired by people, and you get to own your space, right? Like, if you don't like something and you're worried about what people are going to think about you, if you like, you know, say something about that, that will go away with this energy. You'll know when to speak and when not to. Like, obviously, if I'm in a room with a bunch of people and all they listen to is country western music and they think everything else that has electric guitar in it is the devil, right? That's not happening recently. Let's flash back to 1980, okay, when people actually cared about that stuff. Some might still do, but it's just not as far spread as it used to be. And they think all the other like rock and roll music is about Satan. Then you can like just, I don't need to argue with these guys today. I'm not going to change their mind anyway. They'll just think that Satan is here, and that's not going to get us anywhere. So I'll just keep my little, like, you know, thoughts to myself and let them talk about whatever they need to talk about, get it out of their little systems, and, you know, not worry about it. But then say later on, if I was in a meeting and say they were talking about some kid and maybe they all get into this frenzy of, oh my gosh, they're going down the wrong path. Have you heard the lyrics to that music? Again, this never happened in my adulthood, but you know, I'm just taking us back to the past to make an example. Then I would speak up, right? I would be like, hang on a second, you know, like, you guys feel that way about everybody? Well, guess what? Boom, da dee dong, dum dum da dee dong. Listen to that stuff. What band was I just horribly doing an impression of just then? Give me a comment. Because that was actually some scat from a band I like a lot. As terrible as it sounds. Okay. And say, hey, well, if you guys think that about them, maybe you should think about me. Or, you know, that's kind of putting yourself on the chopping block. But you see what I mean? Like, know when to speak out and know when to be silent, because then you end up in this energy of feeling good, plans working out, not being conflicted all the time, having balance, being admired, and being in charge of your own self. The more you rock this in the beginning, the more you can own your spiciness later. All right. I think that is all I have to say. If this was helpful, tell me how in the comments section. Give me topic ideas there as well. Sorry for moving the table around. If you would like to book a private reading, there are ways to get a hold of me in the description box. My friends, we will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye. Hello, group 2. So if you picked the lovely little mustard heart, this is one of my favorite rocks. It's probably like some kind of jasper, but I could be wrong. It feels like jasper. But once again, don't quote me on that. I don't know anything about rocks or crystals or gemstones. Not much. Not much. I know how much some of them cost. And which ones are worth it and which ones are not. At least in my room. All right, let's go ahead and see what's going on with your animals. We're getting such interesting animals today. A meerkat. So of course I automatically thought of the Lion King. I think we all remember that little tale from the sea. That'll get you commenting. I'll start saying wrong things. Like, yeah, the Lion King. Remember when they were all under the sea? Under the sea. They're like, that isn't right. Okay. Now that I've got you all awake, some of you might be a little bit smart alecky. Or at least hopefully you are, because otherwise that might have made you mad. Get support from a trusted group of like-minded friends. Yeah, I believe meerkats, and I'm going to read from the book because I don't know that much about them. They do tend to run around in groups, I think. I think they did a couple of like reality TV shows that were like just camera people following around like little families of meerkats. And I wouldn't watch it because anytime I watch one of those animal documentaries, like they always show the animals dying and stuff. I'm like, that is not what I signed up for. Yes, I know they're out in the wild. Yes, I know they die in horrible ways. I do not need to see it, man. So get support from a trusted group of like-minded friends. For some of you, and this came through like really hard and fast. For some of you, you might already be saying, I don't trust anyone. Oh my gosh, I can relate. Okay. I've been with the same partner for 25 years and I still don't trust that guy. I'm still watching out for anything he might do. Just kidding. I trust him more than most. That's why I kept him around for 25 years. Most people don't make it that far. So anyhow, because it is a disproportionate thing that I do. Once somebody like gets me to a certain point, I can't go back to that person ever, you know? And I get that forgiveness is important, but at the same time, you know, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir here maybe a little bit, or at least to some of you. If it's not there, it's not there. What else can you do? Move on, right? I'll tell you this much. Any person I ever walked away from, I never regretted it. And so I probably did the right thing. So that's some weird message in there for you. So those of you who don't have anyone you can trust, I'm going to throw this out there just because I know it's an option. It's gotten way better since they locked us all down for several months back in the day. It feels like yesterday that happened, and it was like a long time ago now. That's crazy. But anyway, support groups online became very, very popular. Now, I feel like they're a little more, I've been to both. I used to go to support groups all the time. I was in AA. And if there would have been other support groups to go to in the small area that I was in that actually had regular like meetings for AA and NA, I would have gone. Okay, I would have ended up like that guy on Fight Club. I would have become addicted to support groups, but not from the voyeuristic perspective of him. He was just going because he felt comfort from like the people that were worse off than him, and he got sleep. He could sleep after that, right? And so he just was very quiet and didn't say anything, and everybody just assumed that it was because he was a very severe case of whatever, right? He went to like disease support groups. And so, sort of exploitative on his part, but you know, it's a movie, it's a book, it's a story, it's not real. But I could have gotten addicted to that just because I feel like even normal people could handle some support, right? Normal people. There's no such thing, you guys. What is going on in my driveway? I hope you guys can't hear all the vehicles like turning around in my driveway. I have no trees or grass or fences, and so people just, they just go to town out there. None of my pets are outside, so I don't care. Sometimes I feel like barking, but that's all right. All right, so I feel like all this talk of barking and Fight Club, he was very isolated in that story. I feel like some of you feel very isolated right now. And so your guys are saying to reach out, if you are isolated, to reach out to people in a way that's going to get you that support, okay? And what I like about support groups is that everybody has their, man, I really hope you can't hear that. It's really loud. There they go. They know we're all staring at them from our windows. What are you doing out there? Roar! They always look so self-conscious, as well they should, because they are being watched, man. You live in a small town and anything happens on your street ever, you're going to watch. You're going to be like, what's going on? This never happens. All right. Anyway, they're saying to reach out. So if you already have people in your life and you're not isolated all the way, they're just saying to reach out to those people that you know aren't going to argue with you, that you know are going to support you, that are going to say the right things. And the ones that I feel like have those people in their lives already, you know who they are. Okay. So that's the main message here, is to reach out for support. So I'm feeling a couple of different things here. Some of you are going through a hard time and need support. It might be something that you've never even talked to anybody about before or often. You might just keep yourself to yourself. But for others, I feel like you're excited about something and your guides are warning you to only tell the people who understand and will support you in what you're excited about. If you have a bunch of negative Nancys, and they still might be really good people, y'all, but there's just different kinds of people. And some people just know that when somebody's excited about something, it's just good to get excited with them, right? Others are like, be careful, right? So you get, all right, since this is popping in, there might be some romance in here. Super gross, but oh well. So say you just started dating somebody new and instead of having people oh, wow, that's great. So what's he like? What are you guys' plans? What are you guys doing? Oh, what does he do for a living? What does she do for hobbies? Does she like the same things as you? All those things. Do they want to go camping with us or whatever? That kind of deal. I can't wait to meet them, etc. and so forth. As opposed to those are I don't know. You got hurt pretty bad with Brad. Are you sure you want to move on yet? Are you sure? Or, I don't know, you just don't seem as excited about this one as you did about Brad, right? I just bring that up because I had a friend who was dating somebody and everybody was doing that to her. And I said, you realize they're going to do that about everything. I was like, if you weren't, she wasn't acting excited enough for them. It's you just don't seem as head over heels for him as you did for Brad, right? And she was like, it's bothering me. And I was like, okay, but if you were head over heels for them, they'd be like, are you sure you want to be moving so fast? Remember what happened with Brad? Stay away from those guys. They mean well. They do. Most of them. But it gets old, man. You just be excited with me. Support me in this. It can also be the same, holy heck, and this just came through for the people who are having a hard time, who aren't excited about what's happening for them, to say, hey, I appreciate you trying to give me silver linings of how this is all going to work out, but right now I just need you to grieve with me, right? I actually said those words with my sister one time. I was like, no, teaching is over for me. I can never do it again. Even if there's a miracle cure, I don't think I could go back. So please just grieve with me that my life dream is over. Wah! Right? And she's like, okay, I'm sorry. So she was just trying to do the best thing that she could do for me, right? And it wasn't what I needed. And so I told her. So that's okay to tell people that too. Hey, this isn't what I need right now, Yeah, I feel like they this is another hypothetical situation, but you're at work and you feel like some big changes happened and they just let you take all the like yucky stuff, right? Like you're the one that had to move your office to cruddier location or whatever. And your friends that are helping you move all of your stuff are like, this is so wrong of them. I can't believe they're doing this, blah, 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 blah. And instead you're like, I kind of just need you to say, we're going to make this new office so cute and like, it's going to be so great. You're going to like it better maybe. Like we're going to turn this around. It could be something along those lines. Like finding people who just kind of put a positive spin on things as opposed to like, still trying to be supportive, but like just dwelling on that negative. All right, let's get you some tarot. We have the Six of Wands. If you don't think that you have people that support you in your life, this card would indicate that you do, okay? This message is coming in loud and clear for some of you that feel like you're totally alone. There's people around you who admire you that you're not aware of, all right? And if you've been so buttoned down that I'm like, there's people, they don't even know my name, right? And y'all, I can see myself ending up in that place, right? The only reason why that doesn't happen to me is when people like just lay eyes on me. They're like, who is she? What is she doing? What is she doing? Oh, what is she doing? Oh, I don't like how she's doing it. Right? Yeah, gee, you want to hang out with those guys, right? But if you haven't found that yet, they're saying that it's out there. Okay, so like go to find some support. If you go to a support group, a lot of times you'll make these like amazing friends that almost become like family, only they're better because they know what all your like effed up business is, right? And they want to help you, and they know because they can relate, right? And so finding that space, finding that support is super important. If you don't have anyone around you right now, seek them out in weird controlled ways like support groups. One thing, and if you've watched my videos, I always throw this out there all the time: charity work, getting involved in some kind of volunteer thing, even if it's just handing water out to people at a marathon. You are going to meet people that you click with that are very supportive people because obviously they're giving people, they're out there doing charity. Yes, I know not everybody has a pure heart and they're doing charity just because they're a weird sociopath and want to blend in and look like they're a charitable person. But for the most part, it's people that want to do good, right? And that's such a great way to meet people organically. Is through like charity events or volunteering at like, there's like, if you live in a bigger town, there's like hospitals that need you to come hold babies. They just need somebody to come hold babies. I wished I lived in a big town just so I could do that once a week, because I feel like that would be just as much benefit to me as it would be to the babies. Probably more, right? They're not going to remember who held them, but I will, right? Ooh, a bunch of stuff came out for you. Okay. I got to remember all of our scenarios here. Okay, we're going to... These came out face up, so I'm actually going to go... Usually I go top to bottom, but I'm going to go top to bottom with these. We have 10 of Swords. Knight of Wands. And 9 of Pentacles. Okay, let's stick these right here, actually. Okay. With the 10 of Swords, I feel like so many of you feel like there's no way to move forward. And your guides are saying there is a way to move forward, but you have to take some action. Okay, that's for the people that don't feel like you have anyone. Okay, those of you who do have people, you might feel like there's nothing left to say. You don't want to bother anyone with your problems. You don't want to be a stick in the mud. I do this. I don't want to like dump on people, right? So a lot of times I'll just like bottle it up inside and just be like, I'll just suffer on this one all by myself. They're saying exactly not to do that this time, okay? People want to help, all right? Otherwise we wouldn't be getting these messages from your guides. There's people out there who want to help you in all of these situations. And if this is like a new romance type situation, some of you might be feeling stifled in your communication, that you can't say what you want to say, or you're worried it'll end things, right? But for things to move forward and for things to like evolve between you and a person, you got to get the nitty gritty out of the way. I think it's better just to like lay it all out on the line, and they'll either find it enduring or they'll be like, "Ooh, red flags all over the place. I'm out of here." And it sucks, but you don't like trick somebody into staying with you. You know what I mean? So it's like you got to just let go and let yourself be how you are. What else? Yeah, those of you that have a lot of people around you, they aren't going to know anything's wrong if you don't tell them. So all of you have to take some action, some steps, all right? And I feel like that might be harder for some than others. I feel like across the board in this reading that might just be something that's hard for you to do. I can relate. It's not like I don't want help, and I have no problem asking for help. It's the rejection part I can't stand. Right? Because the rejection part is like, oh, I put myself out there and like got rejected and it hurts. It hurts. So I get that. But you have to do something sometimes, right? You have to put yourself out there sometimes. And so that's the challenge part, right? Is getting yourself out there. I'm also seeing that many of you already kind of rock things going solo. And you don't want to complicate your life by adding people into the mix, but you need support, okay? So some of you that are like in a new romantic like relationship or whatever's going on in your romance life, like you might just be holding that to yourself. A lot of people end up thinking that I'm not with someone because I don't ever talk about us. And it's not because I'm not happy and I don't want people to share in my joy with me. I just feel like whenever I bring up that particular instance, I get like unsolicited advice, weird doubtful statements like, oh yeah, right, like nobody's that happy for 25 years or whatever, And so I just tend to like button that down and not bring it up. I also don't bring it up in areas where I don't feel like it's relevant. Like I never felt like it was relevant to talk about my marriage at work other than like, hey, I can't come in today because, my husband needs me to go to a funeral with him, stuff like that, but it's like, I always felt like it was a good thing to keep that out of the picture. All right. And maybe that's wrong of me, but it's something that I do. And so I feel like some of you are also that way, like that you rock this, I'm not going to check in with anybody. I'm going to take care of this myself. For me, I do it also so that if I fail, there's no witnesses. And that might be something that you need to get over if that popped into my mind. Okay. Other things. I don't think so. I think we're good. Okay, let's get some more. Well, these all just popped right off the bottom when I picked up the deck, so we're going to take that as a sign. And we're just going to start laying them out, baby. We got Page of Swords. The Emperor. The Six of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Page of Pentacles. Okay. Page of Swords is about communication. It's also about being curious. So if you're feeling like you can't speak up in some way, or you can't ask for help, or you can't go out and find support, this is about being curious and going out and going for it, even if you don't know what to expect, right? So if it's a new relationship, gross, put it out there. I do this thing I call testing my friends. Where it's like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and throw out something political and see how they take it, or I'm going to go ahead and throw out something spiritual and see how they take it. One of those like hot topics, right? That like end friendships. And I'm not saying test your friends, but like I put myself out there of like, well, I like this. And then I just watch their reaction. And if they're like, oh, that's messed up, then I kind of know where I stand, don't I? Right? If they're like, oh, me too. Or they're like, hey, that's cool. Even if they disagree, then I think I might be on the right track with picking people, right? Picking a partner, picking friends. Being yourself in your rawest form but like owning it and like with a commanding presence. Notice how he also has a sword. It looks like the exact same sword. I'm sure all the swords look the same. Yep, just like in the Ten of Wands. But I just want to show you those similarities there. So your guides are basically saying, hey, you know, own yourself, put it out there, and see what you get, right? One of the things that actually I think makes some partnerships closer is the respect of each other's differences and the respect of one another's space and one another's beliefs. My partner and I have totally different belief systems. You know, he's a Christian and I'm a pagan. And so it's that type of thing. We don't think the other one is wrong, right? They're just following a different interpretation of like the same thing, right? And it works for us. So it becomes more endearing, those differences, right? And it becomes more rich. The experience becomes more rich and more worth your while if you put yourself out there in your rawest form and you receive support regardless of what the situation is and regardless of what your individual likes or dislikes are, that you're going to find people that like you just for who you are, right? That want to help you just in your raw form that you're in right now. That's what's awesome about support groups. One of the things I loved about AA was that it wasn't like, you know, when I was little and I would go to like church. And this was back in the 80s. I know churches are cooler now. But back in the 80s, it was like you go to church and you were either immediately entered into the fold because like you already kind of knew everybody and they were all comfortable with you, or you were like, oh, the problem case. Let's see how far behind they are in the hierarchy steps of religious practices, right? And it was like every, you know, place that I went to would have like a totem, like not a totem pole, but like a stair step of like, you're down here, we're up here, you need to learn from us and do better, right? And it did not matter what you did, you know, even to the simplest little things that they wouldn't have considered bad when somebody else did it. If I did it, then it was like, oh, you know, like, and I know that it's not really like that now, and I'm not knocking church. But what I'm saying is that in a support group, like when I went to like AA, for example, everybody was like, hey, you're at rock bottom. Welcome. We're so glad you're here. And they wanted to know all about me. And like everything I said, they were like, yeah, I did that too. You know, or like, yeah, I feel that way too. And that's really, you know, powerful. I'm not saying everybody should have to go to AA. Like there's all kinds of ways to work through that. But the support stuff, that's the good stuff. Like there's cancer support groups. There's autoimmune support groups. There's children of drug addicts and alcoholic support groups. I mean, you name it, you know, PTSD support groups. So, you know, just be active with those action cards. Be curious about where to go. Get curious about ways to like reach out for support. We talked about the whole charity thing, getting involved in volunteering and charity to meet your people, you know, to find your people. Chances are you're not going to find your people or the love of your life in a bar, right? And I'm not saying that just because I'm anti-alcohol. I go to the bar all the time because I love karaoke, right? But I don't feel like I'm going to find like my diehard people friends there, right? A good person that helped me with getting into Qigong told me once that the reason why that doesn't work is because people are going to the bar to get rid of something instead of to gain something. And I thought, yeah, people go to like hook up or do, and he said it doesn't matter. They're hooking up to get rid of a feeling of loneliness, to leave the loneliness there. It's not about finding someone. And I was like, whoa, profound. Very profound. Very, very wise. So that's something that I always remember, people coming here to gain like perspective, to gain support, to gain you know, knowledge or whatever, or are they here to leave something? It's different. It's kind of an interesting thing. I feel like some of you are feeling like, yeah, again, like kind of like on the outs, on your own, being the only one holding everything together. Your guides are saying that you don't need to sacrifice that much of yourself, that you can put yourself out there and get support. You don't have to do this all on your own. All right. They're showing somebody giving coming into your life, whether this is a representation of many people or just one, something's going to make an impression on you and it's going to help you with change. Notice the little butterfly for change and a bunny for luck, right? The bunny is also for courage, right? Because bunny rabbit has enemies on the ground, in the air, in the water, in the trees, in the bushes. And they still hop out there and do what they have to do. And sometimes they bunny fight, and it's really brutal, but it's kind of cute when they do, because everything they do is so cute. We get big, giant, like, jackrabbits that would, like, pretty much destroy your car, right? Pretty much would probably destroy you if you tried to touch one. They're big. They're like dog big. Not like big dog, but dog big. Definitely bigger than cats, right? And their ears are always all torn up. They're all tough. They're very courageous for sure. Okay. We also have the cute little fuzzy white-tailed cotton bunnies, right? And those guys have to hop out. They don't even have the stuff going for them that the jackrabbits have, which are also still very vulnerable to every other animal that's out there. They are super vulnerable. Like even a house cat could kill one of those guys. And so bunnies are about courage, getting out there regardless of what the situation is. And then that brings you to the Page of Pentacles, which is a good message coming through for you. Good abundance coming through for you. What else? The other message of the Page of Pentacles is knowing, how do I phrase this right? Like having a clear vision of what you want and then going after it. You're not going to know what you want until you go after it. It's really interesting that these little red, like poppy flowers are here in these cards, because we just did Veterans Day and everybody was wearing these, right? This also could have something to do with somebody being in military or ex-military and needing support because of things that have happened in that area, or having someone that you care about being in that situation, right? And finding support for that. So that's also something that's coming through. Let's get one more. This card on top was calling to me. Bam, Ace of Pentacles. If you follow this, you will be opening the gate to abundance, wonderful things, new beginnings, good times, noodle salad, right? And then this becomes more of an understanding message, correct? Right? A wonderful, wonderful thing. All right, so I'm a very silly little goose and forgot to read the book of this way at the beginning. So let's go ahead and give you your book reading now. I'm going to hold the book over here and read it, and then I'll try to hold it up so you can screenshot it and see it if you want to read it on your own. Or, oh, it's alphabetized. Thank God. If people just start alphabetizing things again, my life would be so much easier. They stopped doing it for like almost everything. I'm like, oh, that's how I find things. Please. Okay. But I will hold the book up when we're done so you can screenshot it. Otherwise, I can't see it worth a darn, especially in my dimly lit living room. Okay. So get support from a trusted group of like-minded friends. The people in your life would love to offer their support to you. Your only job is to receive it and indeed sometimes even ask for it. Those whom you feel closest to and trust the most are the individuals you can rely on to be there for you, especially when you really need it. People who are dealing with dire illness, remember we were talking about somebody going through a hard time, and have the support of friends and family members usually fare the best. However, you certainly don't need to experience such an extreme situation to take advantage of the love and care that others have to offer. Excuse me. Some of you, I feel like, are in a serious situation, and I'm acknowledging that, and I'm here for you. Group 2, write down a list of the names of people you trust the most, and then go back through and identify these traits in each of those individuals that make you trust them. When you're finished, you'll not only have a good idea of the qualities in those you rely on, but also a clear notion of the characteristics that make a person trustworthy in your eyes. This is also a good thing to do with relationships that are romantic and gross. Sure, you've been burned or disappointed at one time or another. When you've trusted someone and were let down or betrayed, everyone has experienced this. So now you may be afraid that if you let others in and count on them for support, something similar will happen. Or they'll just say no, right, guys? Those memories, consciously or subconsciously, will not only filter out any chance of being disappointed or hurt, but will also serve to keep others who are trustworthy at a distance. Look under the filter and listen to what your gut instinct tells you about a particular individual. How do they match up with the list of characteristics you find trustworthy? Take a chance and let yourself receive love and support. Associations, family, community, group support. Oh, what did we just talk about? Vigilance, observation, intelligence, energy, conservation, communication, resilience, protectiveness, grooming, and playfulness. Not that kind of grooming, you weirdos. Okay, just kidding. Here's some stuff for you to screenshot if you like. Man, this one's hard to do because it's the whole page and my pop socket's on the way. Hopefully you can see that. Here's the bottom and the back. All right, my wonderful soul friends, this is all I have for you. If this was helpful, tell me how in the comments section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading, there are ways to do so in the description box. We will see you in the next one. Bye. Hello, group 3. So if you picked Yellow Rock, there's like, why does she get so excited about that yellow rock? Why don't you get excited about the yellow rock? I know you're at least a little excited because you picked the yellow rock. Get excited with me. Okay, let's go ahead and look at your animo. I like to call them aminos. Here we go. Dang, polar bear action, my friends. Man, that makes me want to have a nice fizzy Coke, which they don't make anymore. Notice how sodas just aren't as fizzy as they used to be. It's upsetting. Okay, I'll stop there. All right. So the polar bear, stand up for yourself and speak your truth respectfully and compassionately with no attachment to the outcome. Oh my. Oh my. Okay. So the first thing I'm seeing here, I feel like some of you don't say that because people accuse you of being cold, sort of like a polar bear. Actually, polar bears are quite warm. They have to be to survive in the cold. So maybe people are cold around you as well. But I feel like when you stand up for yourself, you've had people like almost like backfire on you, right? Like, hey, you don't get to do that. Well, actually, sir, I do. Okay. I do what I want. I'm feeling this. My goodness. Do what I want. Interesting. There's something you want to do, well, by golly, you better just do it and don't worry about what others are saying. Say something if it's the truth and don't worry about people getting angry with you about this. I feel like this could have to do with like how you feel religiously, politically, regarding sexuality, regarding just anything to do with your own personal beliefs and your own truth. All right. It feels like there's been people around you in your life who have told you like, that didn't happen, or that's not what I said. Right. Or that's not what you were doing. You were doing this when you were clearly doing that. And you know that deep down in your heart. Your guides are saying to like protect that with the fierceness of a bear, specifically a polar bear. There's all these different little sayings for what to do depending on what kind of a bear it is. It was like, I think it's like, are you down there laughing at me? Okay, good. Because I'll come down there. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Sorry, I had to take care of something. Anyway, There's like different things that they tell you to do where a bear comes up to you. And I think it's like, please do not do this with bears based on what I'm saying, because, you know, maybe I should Google it, but it's like, if it's brown, lay down, right? If it is brown, lay down. I'm looking it up because I don't want to mess it up and then have somebody get eaten by a bear. I want you to have the best chances you possibly can. If it's brown, lay down. If it's black, fight back, right? Like, don't show it that you're intimidated. The brown one, you want to play dead because it won't have as much interest in you or see you as a threat. And if it's white, good night, right? So there's nobody fiercer than a polar bear. You're not going to win that battle against that polar bear, right? So that kind of fierceness. I'm not saying to go and murder people. Please don't. Violence is almost never the answer. Almost. But certainly in the types of readings we do, it would never be the answer, because we don't do super serious stuff here. We just do run-of-the-mill first world problems in my little readings. Otherwise, it gets really, really serious, and I don't like to be serious on my channel. Okay, so I feel like some of you have been holding back because you don't want people to get upset with you. I'm definitely feeling that in like the political spectrum. I won't get into the politics part or the different sides, but everybody has their side that they like, and the other side's like, but you're wrong, right? And nobody can just be like, oh, it's cool that you feel that way. I feel this way, and let's still be friends, right? Some people can do that. I can do that, but not everybody can, right? And I can only do it so far before I'm like, polar bear time. That's not how I feel, right? So not so much saying this is how it is, but saying this is my truth. Okay, I remember this happening this way, and I have every right to believe that, as you have every right to believe that it happened differently. I feel like there's like maybe a person in your life, especially in couples, where if you both don't see things like totally the same, you're going to kind of start to argue about it. That's kind of coming into my mind. Okay, what else? Some of you might be in an area or in a workplace or a friend group where like everybody feels very comfortable voicing their opinions, but you don't feel comfortable voicing yours because you know what's going to happen if you do, or at least you think you do. They are saying totally that what? They're saying that it's totally your right to speak out. Okay, that, sorry about that little delay. I had a phone call come in. That just because you're worried about them getting angry doesn't mean you should have to sit there in silence. And I feel like some of the stuff that you're hearing is kind of inflammatory and upsetting to you. And so part of speaking your truth could just be, you know what, I hate talking about this. When I was in college, especially, I was very, very apolitical, and I really didn't follow anything about politics at all. Now that I'm an adult, I kind of have to, but as a kid, I was like, I'm anti-establishment. I'm not going to listen to anything, right? And then people would want you to join their side or talk about it. And it's like, okay, either I vehemently disagree with you, or you're preaching to the choir. Otherwise, can we just talk about something else? This is killing me. It's driving me to drink. I'm going to drink me some tea just thinking about it, because it's like, yuck. And you're not looking to change anyone's mind, but at the same time, like, your guides are saying it's important for you to stand by your truth no matter what. And, you know, politics aside, those of you that are just having a hard time, you know, maybe you just are in a family where they argue with every little thing you say. Like, you might be, you know, sort of the black sheep, where it's just everybody's job to like argue and like knock your ideas down. It's a thing. Look it up. It's really a thing. And your guides are saying that it's time for you to be like, no, I would prefer not. So like, one of the things I would do in college is say, I don't talk about politics at school or work. And they'd be like, why not? I'm like, because it makes people act nasty. And then they would like not talk to me about politics. It was really nice. And I made it through those last few years of school without having to deal with all of that. And so, because I spoke my truth, right? I didn't get into a big debate with anyone. I didn't fight about it. I was just like, I'm not going to discuss this right now. That can be your truth. It can be like, I'm not comfortable talking about this. We're going to move on. Right? Okay. Generally, no one's going to tangle with a polar bear just on sight because they know that rule, right? They know the rule, right? White, good night. I'm just rhyming and rhyming. That's very cute. All right, so. And you can still say it respectfully and compassionately. It's not like I was like, I hate politics and you all need to shut your traps. That's what I wanted to say. One of the things I would love to say is like, y'all are so uneducated. You don't even know what you're talking about anyway. So let's just all drop it. We wouldn't know the difference between, this and something else, like it's all of a sudden now let's all get political, right? No, we don't need to. But I was respectful of it. They could still be how they wanted to be, but then they knew I just wasn't going to discuss it with them. And if you're sitting, in a little circle of chairs and there's only 3 of you, it might get awkward to continue on with that conversation. They might switch on over to something else. I feel like the same thing with like relationships, romantic, platonic, personal, professional, that it's totally okay to say, no, I don't feel that way. And I feel like you've probably gone through your life being told over and over again, either in a really big way, like once or twice when you were really young, or you're just like one of those people like me where people are like, no, you don't get to think that way. No matter what everybody else is getting to do, we're going to focus in on you and be like, you need to do stuff the way we do it. No, I don't actually. And I'm going to get more and more, protective of that truth the more you keep prodding at me. What happens when you prod a polar bear, people? Good night. So that is the main thing that I'm seeing for you there. Let's get you, but you can still be respectful and compassionate, I used to get in scuffles when I was a kid, always in self-defense. I never started them. I just lived in rough areas and I was small and sickly. And so people were like, let's pick on her. She's an easy target. And I was even like polite about that. Like, hey, we can do this or not, but I'd prefer not. If we do it, you might not like it. And guess what? Yeah, exactly. They learned. Okay. Not that that's the answer, but sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do, people. So I'm gonna read the book to you, and then I'm gonna hold the little pictures up to you so you can see them, and then you can screenshot it and reflect on it later. But I'm not gonna do both because I mess it up every time. Okay, so when you express yourself from your heart and from a place of power, it's an unbeatable combination. You don't need to growl or bully, nor do you need to fade into the background and deny yourself the opportunity to directly affect the situation. By showing up and being completely present, even when you're simply listening, you're a force to be reckoned with. Ask for what you want and see what happens. Don't get worked up about how it turns out. You may or may not get what you want, but at least your chances are much better if you do ask. As for setting boundaries with others, such as saying no to requests or demands, when you do so, they may respect those boundaries or try to test them. If they do test the limits you've set, stand your ground, be clear, and don't apologize. Approach the situation with the purity and innocence of a child and the focused intensity of a true warrior, one who doesn't speak or act from anger, but from a place of truth and dignity. Know that when you do so, you'll have nothing to fear. You guys are probably like, man, for a second there, I thought you could read. Not all the time. Associations are fearlessness, purity, leadership, powerful, provider, self-control, strength, wisdom, nobility, conservation, intensity, playfulness, and adaptability. Here is page 1. Here is page 2. And there you have it. So yeah, a lot of times, if you just walk in with that air of authority, of self-authority like that, of I'm not going to be swayed just because everybody else is doing the same thing, it's powerful. You have a power that you are exuding that people pick up on without you having to do much. So, if you just go in and you mean business, I got to the point where if people started talking about politics around me, they just automatically like realized like it wasn't the right time or place, just from me just sitting there putting out the vibe of not doing it. Okay. So there's that kind of energy going on. What else? I feel like you'll be good at it, because I feel like part of why you haven't done it as much before is because of that compassion and respect. But it's also coming from a place of people making you feel like what you say doesn't matter as much. And like, I think that cognitively, you know that what you say matters just as much as anybody else. But if nobody's going to back you up on that, then what's the point, right? Well, sometimes you have to demand respect to get it in a lot of ways. And so that's also a message coming through for you. Let's get you some tarot cards. Bunch came off the bottom. I feel like they might be for you. So let's start with those. We have the 8 of Cups. The 9 of Cups. The 7 of Wands. Queen of Swords. I love synchronicities. And the 9 of Wands. All right, we're gonna have to cover up Polar Bear real quick. So what I love about this little information that we're getting is that you, my friends in group 3, need to know when to walk away. All right. And I think that you do know when to walk away, but you might tend to walk away or like kind of give up when really you should go ahead and take your stand. Okay. Don't sacrifice more than you are willing to sacrifice. So I totally get it and understand if you feel like if I say anything, I'm going to lose this friend. Okay. Well, what kind of a friend are they if they won't respect your differences? You respect theirs. Right? Good to know. Your wishes will come true if you rock this energy. You'll get more of what you want. Remember the polar bear part in the book was telling you, you won't know if, they might say no, but you won't get what you want if you don't ever ask. Okay? So with like communication with other people, partners, whatever, they aren't going to know what your truth is if you don't tell them. And so that's part of your challenge, is figuring out when you need to say something and when you don't need to say something. And it's okay to test that out and have trial and error. When we're new at things, we can make mistakes and things can get hard. It's okay. The point is that you're trying to learn and move forward. You're trying to make it through and get more out of your situation, get your truth out there, have people respect your opinion, maybe shut their traps about certain things you don't want to hear about, right? All of those wonderful little things will happen for you if you assert yourself in that way. And you don't have to even say anything to assert yourself. It's like that one, the kind of teacher that just walks in and everybody kind of falls into line. Even if it's a brand new teacher that they've never seen before. And like, of course, people are, the kids will always test you. People will always test you. And the book talked about that too, that they may try to test you. But if you carry that air of like, go ahead and test me, you're going to get the same result, then they're less likely to try. They're less likely to push. And it'll save you a lot of time, a lot of arguing. And that's the other thing. Don't ever argue with them. Say, this is how I feel. If they keep going at it, shrug your shoulders and say, arguing about it isn't going to change my mind. So I'd love it if we would just move on. Like, I respect you as a person. I just want the same in return. Those are all very, very important things to say. And a very, very important demeanor to carry when you're asserting yourself that way. Otherwise, people will say, oh, they bullied me. I'm so sad about it. Somebody called me out on my stuff. Right? How dare they? Don't they know who I think I am? Boo hoo hoo. And don't apologize for that. Like, oh, you hurt my feelings. Like, I didn't do anything to you. I just said how I feel. And that wasn't to hurt you. That's just the truth of my life right now. This is where we're at. That kind of energy, which is really cool, fits in really well with the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is all about speaking her truth. She doesn't even have her king to back her up, right? She's all on her own. She's doing the single woman thing, and she's rocking it because she stands for her truth and for her honor. She also does not care about consequences to the things she says when she's speaking her truth, because that's just the way things are. That's just the way it is. And people's feelings can be their feelings. It's none of your business how they feel about you. They can try to make it your business, but it's still not. You can remind them that, like, it's not my business what your feelings are. It's a really interesting way to tell somebody to F off. Just saying, hey, like, well, you did this, and you did that, and yada, yada, and you made me feel this way. Say, I didn't make you do anything. You can feel how you feel, right? But how you feel is none of my business anyway. Then it's like, my gosh, you weren't saying, oh, it's none of your business. That's combative, right? This is coming at it from a very calm approach, but also being very assertive in standing your ground. Let's get some more cards. 10 of Pentacles. Rocking this will help you make more money, make more connections, have a happier family. With the 10 of Pentacles, there's always more family members all together, thriving together. And so this could also be like a message for your family. The Pentacles are also about workplaces. So it could be, a way to live better in those surroundings. Bam! Overflowing abundance if you rock it this way. I like these two. This one and this one. It can put people into a tizzy, especially if you haven't done this before. If you've been quiet this whole time and then you start to assert yourself, a lot of people are going to be like, no, this isn't what we're used to. Roar, come on, man, right? And that's their problem. Those are their feelings. They have to deal with them themselves, all right? So that is something that your guides are saying. You don't have to jump into the fray with them. You can still stay over here and be like, no, you're not sucking me into this mess, right? I'm not going in. I'm not taking your bait. I'm not changing my mind. You can work yourselves over in a little tizzy if you want, but I'm not going to. Not happening. Not my style, right? And if it was before, I can change whenever I dang well please. And how dare anyone suggest otherwise? Roar, polar bear. Knight of Pentacles. Slow and steady wins the race. So yeah, your guides are still saying, hey, this isn't going to come overnight for those of you that are, that this is new for you. Okay. And I feel like that's most of you. And I don't care what your situation is. It could be between you and a partner. Maybe they sometimes make you feel like they're disappointed in you when you disagree with them, even on silly little things like, what do you mean you don't like The Big Bang Theory? I love it. I think it's hilarious. And you're like, I'd rather stab out my eyes than watch The Big Bang Theory. And I feel like that's okay for me to express to you, Charlotte. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. Some people don't like sitcoms, I don't like them. I don't like being told when to laugh. I should just know when to laugh because it was funny. You see what I'm saying? But some people love sitcoms because it makes them feel like, I don't know what sitcoms do for people that like them. It seems like there's some kind of a homey feeling that it gives them, like a comforting feeling. And they like to laugh along with the laugh track, or they like to enjoy the little one-liners and then the pauses for the laughs. They just like the way that style flows. And that's okay too. I'm just not going to watch it with you, Charlotte, because I'd rather die. But anyway. And then all the Big Bang Theory people just like desert the channel. And that's okay. We got to do what we got to do. Let's just go ahead and keep on going. Queen of Cups. Doing this will actually make you more emotionally satisfied and fulfilled. Emotionally secure. You don't have to worry about the outcome because that's their problem. If they want to make a big stink about it, oh well, right? That's wonderful stuff, because before I feel like maybe you were kind of sucking down some things that you kind of hard to swallow. Don't really like the way they taste. Don't really like how they make my tummy feel. But my gosh, I better not say anything or everyone's going to flip out, right? I don't care if they flip out. I can remove myself from that situation. The other thing that might be important for some of you to realize, because this just popped into my head, is that I'm very polite. I could really hurt somebody's feelings if I wanted to. I don't ever do it. So when people are saying, oh, you made me feel this way, oh, you hurt my, I was like, man, you were still getting soft served. You better calm down there, cupcake. Because it could have been rougher than that. Rawr, polar bear. Man, it's channeling the polar bear up totally inside my heart. And I like it. What else should we say about this stuff? I don't know. I feel like I've said all I need to say. I guess sometimes polar bears just don't have to say as much to get their point across. So with that, I shall leave you. If this was helpful, tell me how in the comments section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading, there are ways to do so in the description box. My friends, you rock. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye. Well, howdy ho there, group 4. Let's go ahead and see. You picked the little peachy heart. Let's go and see what your animal was. You got 2 cards. So we're going to talk about that. Okay, we have octopus. Practice shape-shifting by altering your physical appearance and mannerisms. Interesting. And the penguin. The period of darkness that you've been experiencing is now passing. Okay. Interesting cards, group 4. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say the first thing first. And that is this. For some of you, this is a relationship thing. Gross, you guys. Ew. Haven't I warned you about how gross that is? Fine, I guess we'll talk about it. Even though it's so gross. I feel like for those of you that this is a relationship thing, some of you have been dealing with somebody who's been shape-shifting around you. It's made life very hard for you. And that darkness that you've experienced is going to come to an end soon, or is passing now. Notice how the penguin is turned away from the octopus. I definitely am feeling some like you walking away from that person. Okay. I'm also feeling like this might not just be romantic. I feel like some of you might have walked away from somebody because you just can't tell who they are. That they change too much, that you can't trust them, that you've realized that ever since they came into your life, it's been just one thing after another, and you really, really liked the idea of them, and this could be romantic or platonic, but you're done and you're walking away. For others, are there others? I'm putting my feelers out there. Let me pause just so you don't have to wait for me to put my feelers out there. For some of you, they're also giving the message of like a new job situation, like dress for the job you want is kind of what I'm hearing with this card for some of you that are not doing this for a relationship bit. And that maybe before this came along, you were feeling like in a darker place. And now that you have this opportunity, you're feeling like things are going to get better. And your guides are saying absolutely that they are. Is there anything else? I mean, if I was an undercover detective or police officer of some kind, I would still be watching pick a card readings. If that's the case, you can't tell me in the comments section because you'll blow your cover. So, if you are a person undercover in some way and you're having to do this covert operation, it's looking like you're going to be able to shed that disguise sometime soon, or that you're going to wrap up the case or whatever's going on. What a weird message. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Let's read from the book. And I am going to read both. So just apply those attributes to like your ex-person you're walking away from, to the new job situation that you are moving towards, and yeah, keeping your cover if you're an undercover cop. I wish I could know for sure I was right, but you can't tell me because then we'd both be in danger. Dang it. Man. Life is hard when you're undercover, y'all. I've seen it on TV. It's hard for those guys. Okay, let's go ahead. All joking aside. And find the octopus section here. Excuse my throat clearing. Oh, nope, we're going to read this first and then I'll show it to you. To become adept at shapeshifting, it's necessary to remain flexible and resilient and be willing to practice different identities by altering your way of dressing, your hairstyle, your demeanor, and your mannerisms. Particularly focus on your body language and voice qualities. Experiment by first making small changes to in any of these aspects and watch what happens. You can also become skilled in modifying your aura, the energy field around you, by intentionally contracting and expanding it. When you practice these things, sometimes even your friends won't recognize you. You can even get so good at camouflage that you become invisible to others. So weird. You might want to watch Group 1 because they also had that almost that exact same thing in there, but a different animal. Very interesting. Everyone has numerous personas through which they operate, and you're no different. It's a matter of being conscious of those personas and modifying them through the art of shapeshifting. Just like actors do, study other people and notice their mannerisms, clothing styles, and how they walk and carry themselves. Observe animals and their behaviors and try to mimic them. Developing this ability can help you more readily adapt to the various situations you encounter, thus enabling you to deal with them more effectively. Let yourself be an actor in your everyday life and have fun with it. Just remember who you are at the core. Associations are disguise, secretness, camouflage, solitude, evolvement, flexibility, regeneration, protection, intelligence, sacrifice, and efficiency. So something else popped into my brain there. Even before they said like an actor doing things, some of you might be actors or players, as I like to call them if they're just actors who do plays, like Shakespeare used to call them. Anyway, player. I feel like that, yeah, some of you have, and I'm also seeing like a business person who like sells things to people, and you take on a persona to make each sale unique and special for that particular client, and that's how you get them. And that's good business, baby. You're gonna roll in, you're gonna be clutching dollar bills and all your little tentacles there. All 8 of them, my friends. Okay. I also like the idea of invisibility, blending in. Some of you might just need to go out in public somewhere where you don't want to be recognized, depending on what the situation is. There's lots of different ways to do that. Like for me, I would just dress normally. Just kidding. I can't get away. Everybody knows who I am, dude. It sucks. Just, look down and there I am, they're like, I remember how short you were. It's you. And they snatch the wig off my head and I'm like, bah! And then I'm busted. My cover got blown. But your guides are saying you can do it. You can do it. I can make myself invisible just in general. It's just a different trick that I do. Watch Group 1. There's some hints on how to do that in Group 1. Okay. If this was a person, I feel like they were really good at their disguises. And not only good at their disguises, but good at protecting themselves, of like really passing off their disguises as genuine, as authentic. And people fall for it. Not just you. Lots of people are fooled by this person. And I think a lot of you, it's hard for you to walk away because you know that they'll probably like slander you and get other people to turn against you. But your guides are saying this period of darkness that you've been experiencing is now passing. And so that's okay. Okay. So if you're dealing with that kind of octopus energy, they also like to strangle and hold you down, right? That little metaphor is not escaping me when it comes to walking away from a negative person. Other things, new at your job. You might feel like you're doing 8 things all at once for a while, but it is okay. You will be all right. You are adaptable and you can make it work. And if it's a dark period, it is already passing. Okay, so this is all very, very positive stuff. Let's read about Penguin. You've endured hardships in your life, sometimes gracefully, sometimes awkwardly, yet they've taught you life lessons that have been invaluable in forming the person you are today. These experiences have influenced the kind of personality and character you possess. However, the path you've taken has ultimately been influenced by the choices you've made in response to those experiences. This is especially true with your most recent cycle, one that has presented many challenges that you've dealt with successfully. That period of travail where'd it go? There it is. Travail. I wasn't saying travel, to passing. This period of travail is passing, and whether or not you're aware of it, it has contributed significantly to your spiritual growth. Emerging from this period, you'll still be faced with a few challenges, but you'll readily face them with the courage and inner strength you've mustered during this period of struggle. You've discovered resources that you never knew you had, and these will serve you well for the rest of your life. Your faith in life's unfoldment and your greater awareness of your soul's destiny will help you deal with anything that comes your way with self-confidence, grace, and fluidity. Making conscious and deliberate choices now become top priority, as these have the potential to dramatically alter your life. Associations: determination, focus, endurance, self-confidence, respect, gracefulness, agility, fluidity, etiquette, clarity, awareness, willingness, sturdiness, and intention. And I shall show you the pages now if you would like to pause so that you can read back through this later. I apologize, it is a book and the camera's funky, but let's get you as much of the words as we can. I know I go kind of fast. You gotta pause. Run back and pause. Run back and pause. I do it all the time. It's super fun. All right. So that all being said, with Penguin, if you're in a breakup situation or leaving somebody behind, they're saying that it's okay. You did the right thing. If you're second guessing that, you did the right thing. Okay. I'm also seeing that if you're one of the people who has to take on personas to do well, that it's also somehow like, even though you're doing different shape-shifting techniques, it's also bringing about your authentic self, which is very interesting. That this is leading to this for those people, that this isn't a 2-person situation. Okay, let's get you some tarot. All right, so those cards wanted to come off the bottom, so we are going to honor them. Oof. This card wants to come up off the top, and so is the one right underneath it. So let's see. We might not even need to shuffle today. Don't worry, I shuffled before we started. Okie dokie. The Tower. 2 of Pentacles in reverse. And the Sun. Aw, yay. Well, those of you that are like, the Tower, no. Well, be happy because the Sun is here to show us that all the negative cards in this deck are going to be turned to positive, or all the cards in the spread are going to be turned to positive, because that's what the Sun does in my readings, even if it's upside down. So, with the Tower being there, I feel like many of you have broken down your own tower to rebuild something new, right? Some of you are breaking down old pretenses to have something more authentic. Some of you are tearing down a relationship so that you can move on and grow. You're not willing to juggle things anymore. It's not working for you. You've made your choice across the board. The choice has been made. Whether you're both the octopus and the penguin, or you're just the penguin getting away from the octopus, the choice is made. You're moving forward. If this is in the upright position, I would have read it as, you still haven't decided what to do. You're juggling different things at once. But in this particular instance, you have chosen, and that's what's bringing you the sun. Very beautiful. Let's get you some more cards. Oh my goodness, they keep popping off the bottom like this. Ace of Swords, truth, integrity, good stuff, power. The Hierophant, learning, teaching, growing, partnering. I feel like some of you have had, like they were talking about the penguin and all the hardships, actually contributed to that spiritual growth. I feel like you've all had so much spiritual growth that you might as well just open up your own little ministry because you're so entirely skilled now in Hierophant energy. Some of you might have a teacher coming in towards you to teach you something, but for the most part, I'm seeing that this is just you. You're the expert now. You've done this thing and it worked out. Okay. You did the right thing. You made the right choice. You know that you're being intellectually honest to yourself and to others. The Moon, some fear of the future, but it also is a card that means that your intuition can be trusted at this time and that illumination will come when it is needed and when you are ready to see it. King of Wands, being strong, passionate, decisive, right? Lion's here. The strength symbol is here. Adaptable, just like we were talking about before with being adaptable with that other card. Adaptability being one of the main messages for you. You are... the undercover cop thing popped into my head again. Maybe some of you are studying to be in like covert ops of some kind. Let me know in the comments if you're at least kind of thinking about doing that. Or if you're just going to blow your cover, don't. I get it. You can just say resonated. And I'll be like, there they are. There they are, that little cop. I was like, man, she really went off on that cop thing. Yeah, I did, didn't I? Weird. All right. 3 of Cups. Making good connections. Making more reliable friends or connections with people as you move forward into this new energy. If this is a relationship thing, you're definitely going to be spending more time with some of your like platonic friends, especially if it was a romance situation. If it was just a platonic situation, you're definitely going to be drawing in those who you feel are on your side, who have your best interests at heart, and you're going to celebrate that they're in your life. Yes. What else? I don't feel like I need to shuffle these, I guess. These little cards just keep poking out for us. Okay. 4 of Pentacles. You do have protection at this time, so undercover cops, you got cover. It's cool. They haven't figured you out yet. Knight of Swords. Action in words and in deeds. You might get more assertive in how you speak with people about how you feel. That's also a new thing coming in for all of you, just based on the fact that you've been through some tough times. And then this last card's calling to me as well. King of Cups, being emotionally fulfilled, not feeling the weight of challenges, going with the flow, giving lots of love, getting lots of love. And so that is all wonderful for you because you're actually moving towards this new energy of self-sufficiency, of strength, right? Of cutting out the things that don't serve you or aren't good for you. And being able to just stand on your own 2 feet and accept your own self, you know? Oh, what else? Standing by that truth. My goodness, it's like Grand Central Station outside. I knew I was forgetting something. The Knight of Swords and the Moon are both about trusting your intuition. And so your guides are definitely putting that in there. Especially if you're an undercover cop. My goodness, they have to really trust their intuition. Like if they're onto you, they're onto you. You got to get out of there if your cover's blown. I keep making jokes about this. There's like, meanwhile, there's like an actual person that's like scared and undercover and has no one to talk to. And they're like, man, it would have been cool if she was a little more serious. I can't be serious. It's just, I can. But then I get all weird and puffy. And nobody likes that. Like, what does she mean by puffy? You know, when you puff your chest up and you get all like aggro? I mean that kind of puffy. What? What? Okay. Other things, Spirit. When it comes to relationships, again, you did the right thing. You needed to tear down the bad stuff. You gotta cut out the rot to make everything grow again, right? Man, that was a weird way to say it, but that's what's coming through. What else, Spirit? Yeah, I keep hearing, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Like you're doing it right. Some of you are going to go fishing and think about this. Some of you might go fishing or spend time by water to feel good about what's going on. The moon's connected to water. The cups are connected to water. I'm feeling that for you. And then the swords are like about, you know, communication and facing challenges and being proactive, right? So I feel like you're well on your way. Remember that you do have protection if you're like feeling like, oh, is that ex going to come and bother me? Or are they going to retaliate in some way that's embarrassing? Or, you know, are they going to come swooping back into my life right when I don't need them anymore? All of those things you have protection against. You know, is that gang going to find out that I'm a cop? Nope, you're all right. And then all the people are like, cops are narcs. They all just leave the channel. And then it's just me, so lonely, just talking to myself. Okay. I think that's all I have for you, group 4s. So if this was helpful, tell me how in the comments section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading, there are ways to do so in the description box. We will see you in the next one, my friends. Take care of yourselves. Bye. Nope, just kidding. I forgot about your 2 little cards up here. The Fool, having faith as you move forward. This is also another card saying that you have protection. And 9 of Cups, you're going to get everything you want. I like that ending better, don't you? Yes. Okay. You know the rest. I said it earlier. I don't want to go back and edit anything. I tried to edit the last one. I ended up just chucking the whole video. It was the animal video. Yeah. That's just, it's in the ether now. I had to let it go. Had to cut it out. It just was too much editing I had to do. Too many interruptions. Too much silly stuff. All right, my group 4s. Take care of yourselves out there. And we'll see you on the next one. For real this time. Bye.